This is the talk show that takes a no-holds-barred approach to politics, where truth and integrity are the standard and the Constitution honored. From Renaissance Studios, this is Champion News Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Champion News Talk Radio. We are brought to you by championnews.net, and we're your choice for the conservative voice. This is Carol Parisi. Today, our founder, Jack Roser, and myself have a very close friend and ally in the conservative movement, Ms. Deb Gordils, who is championing the Hispanic Initiative. Good morning, Jack. How are you today?
I'm fine, and I'm very pleased to have our guest on. Deb Gordils here is a dynamite babe. Broad, whatever you want to call her.
Broad. Jack, you know what, before the show, Jack said that, and that is absolutely appropriate because of being a World War II vet. That was okay back then.
Well, yeah, I was a vet.
And I'm not word sensitive.
But she's not a World War II vet. I am.
No, you are. That's what I said. Yeah. That's why it's appropriate for you to say that.
But more than that, Deb's been building an office in Chicago, a Republican political office in Chicago, back when there were none in the whole city of Chicago. And on her own initiative, she started scurrying around getting people organized, and I was able to help her with a little bit of money and stuff. But it's her energy and her smarts about this thing. And we've got, 17 committeemen elected, real Republicans
in the city.
There's 50 total.
50
but
total.
we got 17 of them are actually alive and active Republicans. Before they were just Democrat stooges that they were smart enough to throw in there. But you're courageous, and because you know, you're like a friend of mine. This guy is a welder and does a lot of work on boats. He's a lead shoe diver. He's all man. And anyway, he goes into his local voting station and asks for a Republican ballot in Chicago. And he tells me, all motion stopped. And they said, what are you doing? You know, it's like that. And you had the courage to start a Republican thing. And the next thing is, she had the idea and the steam to start El Sueno Americano, the American Dream. I gave it the name, half the name. But she started this newspaper from scratch. I gave her a little bit of money, really very little. And it's quite a roaring success right out of the box.
I'm really excited about the paper, Jack.
You know what? I'm going to say something about the paper. When our country was founded, Thomas Paine wrote Common Sense. And Common Sense actually gave us our Declaration of Independence. It's getting information in people's hands. And the amazing thing about El Sueno Americano is that it is written in Spanish. And Deb, what kind of articles are in El Sueno Americano? I see this first one says, Benghazi, ¿Qué pasó? I mean, how cool is that? That's something that attracts attention.
Yeah. That wasn't the first one, but it comes out every, 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks the paper comes out.
What kind of articles, what kind of information is in there, and are there advertising opportunities for our listeners?
Yeah, there are advertising opportunities. We evaluate all of them as they come in and make decisions on them. And you can call either Champion News Radio to get that information, or get a rate card from us. We'll be happy to send it to you. And El Sueno Americano covers the up-to-date information. We did one on the Boston bombings, which happened recently. The Benghazi paper came prior to that. And it's really an informational paper so that readers, Hispanic readers, can get the information and ask the right questions on the issues of the day. And so we're still trying to find out what happened in Benghazi. I know a lot of Republican leaders in the House have shared the same thought. They want to know what is going on in terms of domestic policies and foreign policies that affect Americans. And so Benghazi is still very much in there. Hispanic readers do not get the opportunity to find out a lot of the issues that are pressing in America, mainly because Hispanic readers don't read English. And so they can't read the Wall Street Journal or the Tribune or the Sun-Times.
Because this is all about politics.
It's about political issues, politics, how politicians vote the way they vote, whether or not they're voting the values of the Hispanic people. It allows them to see which politicians vote in which manner, and if those manners fall within the same values that Hispanics have, then Hispanics should be supporting those candidates. And so, you know, we firmly believe that if conservative voters want to vote for conservative candidates, they need to really look at those candidates and find out what issues they represent. Incumbents are easy to make a decision on because incumbents have a voting record. And so as we get closer to the election time, we'll be printing the voting records of incumbents, how they vote, and on what issues they voted, so that Hispanics can make better decisions when they go to vote.
The big result is that you've provided the spark to get the Republicans going in the city of Chicago. Where in the last governor's election, they'd made no attempt at all to get votes out of the city of Chicago.
There's many Republicans in Chicago and a lot more conservatives than Republicans in Chicago. There was just no one was bringing them together or organizing them. And what our office simply did was
the Central Committee was of the Republican Party has been non-functional, especially in Chicago.
I think because many of them felt that they didn't understand how to operate in Chicago. They didn't understand Chicago. Many of them were not from there. And so who better to maneuver around the territory than somebody who's familiar with it? And so what I did as a native-born Chicagoan and growing up in political circles, I just rounded up Republicans and conservatives alike who lived in Chicago, understood the political terrain there, and together we've created a Republican presence in the city.
How much does El Sueno Americano cost for people to get?
Well, it will. Right now, it is free, so this is your time to get as many copies as you can. We are looking to begin selling the paper. By fall, there'll be a 25-cent fee for the paper, and we're working out all those details right now.
But right now, they're free.
We had a prominent businessman. I don't know if he wants his name put out in this thing or not, but he bought what, a years of advertising, both of his company, a full-page ad, and half of it's about his very prominent company. And,
yes, well, we've had quite a few individuals.
It's Uline, actually, the company that sells an awful lot of stuff to people that need shipping supplies and such.
Yeah, a lot of political action committees, PACs, have been contacting us and want to get into the paper. PACs who, of course, are conservatives, corporation or corporate leaders or owners who are conservative have also come to us. There's a lot of conservatives out there that are very interested in having the conservative message reach Hispanic voters, and those individuals are the individuals we want to come and join us in this effort.
This title, and I'm the guy that gave it finally its name.
El Sueno Americano.
We worked together on it, but I made it the American Dream, and that just really energizes the Spanish people. They came across the border. A lot of them, they call them illegals. What the hell? They wanted to be people that were living the American
Initially,
dream.
we were going to call this paper the Latino Republican. And we had sort of like a little mini focus group, and they said, you know, what are some other name options? And we were all together tossing that idea around, and we eventually translated the American Dream into Spanish, which of course is El Sueño.
It's a great, it flows. But Deb, now let me ask you a question, because we're talking about the Hispanic population specifically immigrating to America to achieve this American dream. How does the president's policy measure up with that, and why do Hispanics notoriously right now vote Democrat?
Well, you know, I think it began back, I think we can begin to look at some of the research studies that America's PAC put out. America's PAC, led by Tom Donaldson, came out with polls and numbers recently on Hispanic trends and Hispanic voting. In 2004, President Bush was elected by 40% of the Latino vote in America in 2004. If we look at those numbers and we compare it to the numbers today, something drastically happened during that time. And it is my firm belief that what happened in 2004 was a wake-up call to the Democrats that Latinos were voting their values. They were voting conservative. And I think it's at that time.
Because they're family people. They want to work. They
That's
came
right.
here to work.
That's right.
For
That's
God's
right.
sakes.
They came there to work. And so the only way to get them away from that is to discredit the Republican name. And I think that there was an all-out effort following 2004 that Democrats completely put out this information, and they used immigration as the tool to smack us with.
You know what? We're going to be going to break here in about 30 seconds. There's immigration reform. When we come back after the break, I want to hear a little bit about that and what you are hearing in the field from your Hispanic co-workers about how they feel the immigration should take place. And are the Democrats using immigration as a political tool to
yes.
get more people involved?
Since 2004.
We're going to be back. Stay with us.